New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
And now the good news. It is Friday here at the New Thought Media Network, and we are just so excited to bring you good news this Friday afternoon or evening, depending where you are. Well, let's get right into it. The first story is phenomenal. This college commencement speaker announces he's paying off final year of loans for graduates in honor of his father. How beautiful is that? Over 170 students set to graduate from North Carolina State University were about to get the surprise of a lifetime when they filed into the arena in their red caps and gowns. As with all graduation speeches, possibilities seemed palpable. Hopes and dreams were waiting on the horizon. Unbeknownst to the scholars, their commencement speaker, Anil Kakkar, had a lifeline planned that would pay off the final year of student loans for every 2026 graduate in the school's Wilson College of Textiles. It's my privilege to announce today that in honor of my father, Prakash Chand Kakkar, my wife Marilyn and I are providing a graduation gift to cover all the final year education loans incurred by Wilson College graduates. The announcement earned raucous cheers and numerous rounds of applause from everyone in attendance. Instantly, 176 students who were receiving bachelor's degrees and 26 who were receiving master's degrees had an entire year of college debt wiped away. Marilyn and I hope that all of you leave Reynolds Coliseum today, not only with a degree, but with a greater freedom to pursue your goals, take risks, and build the lives you've worked so hard to achieve. The man's father, Prakash Koshar, emigrated from India to Raleigh, North Carolina 80 years ago to study textile manufacturing in America. He was believed to be only the second student from India to ever enroll at the university. Koshar eventually earned his bachelor's degree in textile manufacturing in 1950 and his master's degree in the same program in 1952. His textile engineering skills soon led to success in a career that crisscrossed several states as part of a global textiles company. He passed away in 1985, but his legacy continued with a scholarship that has been in existence for the last 40 years, and it carried on when his son spoke into the microphone on the graduation stage. My father could not have imagined this moment, not just me standing here, but all of you sitting here, a new generation shaped by a different world, but connected by the same spirit of possibility that brought him here decades ago. And that's what today represents. How beautiful is that? That's some happy graduates, I'll bet. All right, well, moving right along, celebrating 15 years of matching disabled youth with college athletes, over 4,500 kids discover the power of belonging. Since 2011, a Boston-based nonprofit team, Impact, has matched more than 4,500 children facing serious illness and disability with college teams across the U.S. transforming lives through the power of belonging, empowerment, and resilience. Since pairing its first child with a college hockey team in Massachusetts, Team Impact has become a network spanning more than 850 colleges and universities across all 50 states and engaging over 112,500 student athletes. Woo, that's good. 15 years ago, we set out with a simple but powerful belief that no child should ever be sidelined for illness or disability. That was CEO Chrissy Kelleher. Through Team Impact's multi-year clinical program, children become official members of college athletic teams, attending practices, games, team dinners, and campus events, while building meaningful friendships and support systems that extend far beyond sports. At the same time, student athletes gain invaluable lessons in empathy, leadership, and perspective that shape them long after graduation. One of these athletes is Blake Messenberg, a hockey player at Miami University in Ohio, who had an instant connection with Liam, a 16-year-old with a rare genetic disorder that causes muscle weakness and developmental delays. As a parent, Melissa has been blown away by the positive changes in her son and the genuine friendship that has developed. Liam knows that no matter what, he can always call Blake and talk to him about anything, even if Blake is home for the holidays or on summer break, she said. The hockey player takes interest in everything Liam is doing, supports him through his medical journey, cheers him on, and takes time to truly see how Liam is feeling. How beautiful is that? Liam has never had a group of friends prior to joining the team, making it hard to have a birthday party. Blake made sure Liam's 16th birthday was memorable, and Liam still talks about that night months later. How beautiful is that? All right, one more story, and then we're going to take a little commercial break. On his 49th birthday, his sister saved his life. How can I ever repay that? A New York man received the ultimate birthday gift this year, a second chance at life from a sister who has always looked out for him. On February 2nd, Troy Rowe walked into NYU Langone Health alongside his older sister, Kim Rowe, for a surgery that would forever change both of their lives. It also happened to be Troy's 49th birthday. The siblings entered the hospital arm in arm as Kim prepared to donate one of her kidneys to her younger brother after learning he has a rare and highly compatible match. He was a rare and a highly compatible match. Troy's health problems that first surfaced in 2024 during a routine physical exam when doctors discovered his kidney function was declining. As his condition worsened, he eventually began the process of joining the national transplant waiting list. Things became more urgent in March of 2025 when Troy met with nephrologist Dr. Lionel Desrochers at NYU Langone for additional testing. After reviewing the results, the doctor became deeply concerned and instructed Troy to head straight to the emergency room. Troy was later diagnosed with end-stage kidney disease caused by hypertension. He soon began dialysis and reached out to family and friends in hopes of finding a donor match. Because Troy has B positive blood, which is less common, finding a compatible donor was expected to be difficult. That's when Kim stepped forward. Once Kim learned she was a match, she said there was never any doubt about what she wanted to do. Once I found out that I was a match, there was no hesitation at all, Kim told People. I'm just so grateful and blessed that I could do this for him. Before being cleared for surgery, Kim underwent extensive medical evaluations, including a physical, colonoscopy, and mammogram to ensure the donation would be safe for both of them. When the procedure was ultimately scheduled for Troy's birthday, the family saw it was more than a coincidence. It was perfect. They took it as a good sign and a blessing. I love that. That is beautiful. Well, we're going to take a little commercial break here, and we'll have more good news right after this. Don't go away.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
And now more good news. Well, this 10-year-old saved up for a 3D printer and built a business from scratch. Yeah, most 10-year-olds spend their free time playing video games, but Ernesto Gail Hernandez is busy running his own 3D printing business and dreaming of buying his mom a house someday. How sweet is that? What began as a fun way to make custom keychains for classmates has quickly grown into a thriving small business for the young entrepreneur from Brownsville, Texas. Now, with multiple printers running at once and products being sold in a local store, Ernesto is already turning creativity into success, while most kids his age are still deciding what game to play after school. Inside a small workshop at home, Ernesto spends his days designing and printing colorful creations, including keychains, whistles, can openers, and fidget-style items meant to help people dealing with anxiety, ADHD, and stress. I would wake up early and set something to print while I'm at school or after school. Before football practice, I would also print something. The idea first took shape just a few months ago when Ernesto told his mother he wanted to earn money through 3D printing. Instead of simply buying him a machine, she encouraged him to work and save for it himself. My mom said I could save up my chore money and buy my own 3D printer with my money, Ernesto explained. After saving $500, Ernesto bought his first printer and launched Prestige 3D Labs. He taught himself how to create custom designs by watching online tutorials and quickly realized there was real demand for the products. I saw tutorials on YouTube on how to edit and make custom keychains for people. He said, business has grown fast. Ernesto says he has already made around $1,500 in profit, and demand became so strong that he partnered with a local Brownsville clothing store called Jungle to help sell his creations. The business is called Jungle, and I want to sell my product there, he said. I told them if they wanted to sell my product. Now, 3 printers run regularly to keep up with orders coming in from across the Rio Grande Valley. For Ernesto's mother, Samantha Cazada, the business has become more than just a way for her son to earn money. It has also become valuable time spent together. It's a handful, but honestly, I enjoy that we get to do it together, she said. It is part of our quality time. She admits balancing school, football practice, and a growing business can sometimes be stressful, but she believes the experience is teaching Ernesto lessons that will last a lifetime. You are so right, Mama. As tiring as it may be, sometimes it's a little bit stressful. Time management is hard, she said, but it's been one thing that we enjoy doing. We get to do it together, and it keeps him on the right path. Way to go, Ernesto. Genius. Kids are so smart. Holy moly. Well, a man hears a little girl screaming and jumps into a pond to save mom and daughter from a sinking SUV. A split-second decision by an Ohio man turned an ordinary Friday night into a life-saving rescue for a mother and her young daughter who ended up trapped in a sinking SUV. And now two families say they'll be connected forever. What started with the sound of a loud crash quickly became a race against time for 33-year-old Yanni Saris, who was helping his father cut down trees in the backyard of his parents' home in Mentor, where he saw an SUV speeding across nearby yards and plunging into a pond. I looked up, and the SUV was coming up, down again, came across 1, 2, 3, 4 yards. Then the right two wheels went down the hill over there and just kept driving, basically into the center of the pond. Inside the vehicle were 46-year-old Kim Wallace and her 8-year-old daughter, Olivia, who had been heading home after picking up dinner from Olive Garden. Kim explained that she suddenly began feeling extremely sick while driving. We were coming to home and I started to feel really nauseous. Next thing I know, her son was literally waking me up from the car. After Kim lost consciousness behind the wheel, the SUV crashed through a fence, tore across the Saris family's backyard, and slid straight into the water. Without hesitating, Sarah sprinted toward the pond. When you hear a little girl screaming, you go right into action, he said. Just jump in, there's lives in the water. You've got to do what's right. Saris reached Olivia first and helped guide her to safety toward a neighbor named Walker, who had rushed over after hearing the crash. Then he turned back toward the sinking vehicle where Kim was still trapped inside. I looked at her straight in the eyes and I just said, I'm going to try and I'm going to do my best. By the time he reached the SUV, the water had already risen above his chest and the front door was underwater. Saris climbed in through the back seat, found Kim unconscious, unbuckled her seatbelt, and pulled her through the vehicle to safety. That's when she started waking up. After swimming her back to shore, Saris collapsed from exhaustion. Everything just kind of went black. The entire rescue reportedly lasted only about 3.5 minutes, though Saris said it felt much longer. Weeks later, the two families reunited at a nearby park where emotions quickly took over. We just can't thank you enough, Kim said. I'm so grateful that you were there. Her husband, Chris Wallace, was equally emotional. Our family is still here today because of you. Wow, that is one great story, don't you think? I'll tell you, there's so many beautiful people in this world. We have to start focusing more on that and less on the problems that we perceive are around us. Okay. A second grade teacher in Arkansas never expected that the funny, book loving little girl who burst into her classroom singing her own name would one day become her daughter. But after years of foster care and broken promises, one special student finally found the forever home she had been longing for. Wow, they look the same, don't they? They look like mother and daughter. When Lexi McClellan first met Mary at Elm Tree Elementary in Bentonville, Arkansas, the energetic 7-year-old immediately stood out. She was naturally funny and incredibly creative. She loved reading, and she had these little comments that felt wise beyond her years. Mary had spent years moving through foster homes after entering the system at a young age. But inside the classroom, her imagination shined brightly. She dreamed up inventions, loved books, and once even designed a trolley system that could deliver library books across the classroom. As a teacher, you try not to have favorites, McClellan said, but she was just one of those kids whose personality filled the room. At the time, McClellan only knew basic details about her life, but she could not shake the feeling that this little girl was somehow meant to be part of her story. It felt like God led it, she said, like she was meant to be in my life. How is that? When the school year ended, Mary was expected to be adopted by another family. McClellan was happy for her, but heartbroken at the thought of losing contact. Then everything changed. The adoption plans unexpectedly fell through, and when McClellan learned Mary needed a home again, she immediately stepped forward alongside her husband, Max. If she's available, she's coming to our house, she told her husband. Just weeks later, Mary arrived at the home with only a few belongings in hand, What could have been an uncertain transition instead felt natural and happened almost instantly. As soon as I walked in, I was like, let's have some fun, Mary later said. By Christmas Eve in 2021, the couple knew they wanted to make things permanent. They gave Mary a children's book about a bunny finding its forever home with a handwritten note tucked inside asking if she wanted to officially become part of their family. Mary couldn't believe it was real at first, but it was, it is, and wow, what a beautiful, beautiful story. Okay, well, let's cross that big pond and go. This ancient Egyptian crypt of 22 singing priests unsealed for the first time in Luxor. It's beautiful. A large burial chamber has been uncovered in one of the city's ancient necropolises that has remained undisturbed for at least 2,600 years. Inside was a depository of 22 coffins and 8 mummies that seemed to belong to a special female temple caste who sang sacred songs at festivals and during religious rites. The words singers of Ammon was found repeatedly on the coffins and suggests that burial chamber was designed especially for these unique and respected women. The discovery was made in the southwestern sector of the Asasif necropolis inside a tomb chamber carved directly into bedrock. The coffins were arranged in 10 horizontal rows where they were found with a variety of other funerary objects. Most exciting of all were 8 sealed jars arranged with a large ceramic vessel that still had their original clay seals and which therefore may still contain organic remains, either of funerary substances like oils and resins, or even biological material from the mummies. They were described as an information gold mine and are due to undergo state of the art conservation and laboratory analysis. Dating has been carried out amid the frantic and urgent preservation work of protecting the flaking pigments and splintering wood of the coffins, which seem to indicate they spanned 400 years of Egypt's third intermediate period, roughly between 1070 and 664 BCE. Wow, that's a very cool find. Oh, it's a tortoise. A passionate tortoise guardians help critically endangered giant tortoise slowly return to India. In the far eastern Indian state of Nagaland, locals are protecting mainland Asia's largest tortoise species, an animal they used to hunt. Governments around the world struggle to effectively govern or manage their frontier borderlands, and few borderlands feel as frontier as Nagaland, being more than 2 days' drive from New Delhi on the border with Myanmar and Nepal, and populated by diverse ethnic groups speaking diverse languages. But this is now proving to be a strength, not an impediment, as local tribal reserves replace government reserves in the reintroduction sites for the tortoise, and local youths replace professional conservationists as the scaly animal's guardians. The critically endangered Asian giant tortoise was heading towards population collapse and extinction until the Nagaland Zoological Park began a captive breeding program that saved the population. Shailendra Singh, director of the Turtle Survival Alliance Foundation, India, which oversees the animal's reintroduction along with the Nagaland Forest Department, explains that the program started with 13 turtles, some of which were seized from Nagaland markets where they were destined to be eaten, and others that had been kept as pets. The program reached its turning point when some villagers voluntarily donated tortoises they had kept as pets in their homes for captive breeding, and the community that once exploited them was sensitized to restore and nurture this species back in the wild from the brink. From those 13 tortoises, 7 female and 6 male, 114 individuals have been born. half as many as the entire world population of all in all of Asia, according to some estimates. Wow, that is an incredible reintroduction. Good job. All righty. Well, 200 volunteers lead the largest ever oyster reef restoration off England's Portsmouth. Last week, volunteers dumped 20,000 oysters into English waters to recreate historic biodiverse oyster reefs. 260 people came down to Chichester Harbor in Portsmouth to take part in what, one of the participating organizations called the UK's largest subtidal oyster reef restoration project. For centuries, native oysters were part of everyday life across an area of the English coast called the Soylent. Coastal communities relied on oyster beds for food, trade, and employment, with evidence of oysters being harvested in the harbor dating back to Roman times. The restoration aims not only to recover a lost species, but to help reconnect the region with an important part of its maritime heritage. The large-scale effort forms part of the Soylent Seascape project and is led by ocean conservation charity Blue Marine Foundation, alongside Chichester Harbor Conservancy and the University of Portsmouth Institute of Marine Sciences, where volunteers arrive to help clean and carefully check the oysters as part of the biosecurity procedure organized by the scientists here. This is a hugely significant moment for maritime restoration in the UK, said Dr. Helmet from the Soylent Seascape project. Native oysters were once abundant across the Soylent, but populations have collapsed over the last century. By restoring oyster reefs at this scale, we're helping rebuild an ecosystem that supports biodiversity, improves water quality, and benefits coastal communities. Wow, that is beautiful. But despite the decline described by Dr. Helmer, oysters remain one of the marine environment's most important ecosystem engineers. A single oyster can filter up to 200 liters or around 44 gallons of water a day. Wow, those are essential little creatures for sure. Well, we're very quickly running out of time here again. Well, students work to fundraise. Okay, I'm going to be quick. To save a habitat where they watch bald eagle chicks on live stream. Fourth grade science teacher Sarah Stinson must have known she was doing a great job when her intrepid students began giving themselves extra homework. It didn't involve studying for an exam, but raising money to help a local wildlife trust buy a parcel of imperiled land in California's Big Bear Valley, where Jackie and Shadow make their nest. Jackie and Shadow are a matching pair of bald eagles that Stinson introduced to her class last year. They and their two chicks are monitored by a 24/7 live cam set up by the Friends of Big Bear Valley nonprofit. We get to see the eagles set up their nest, then we get to see them lay eggs, and then we get to see the eggs hatch and the chicks grow. Then a few months ago, Stinson noticed while putting up the live cam the area where the eagles hunt, the last undeveloped shoreline of the beautiful Big Bear Lake, was going to be turned into a luxury housing development unless local environmental activists came up with $10 million to purchase it. I started sharing the information with them, and they felt so passionate about it. They were like, what can we do? What they could do was fundraise and generate awareness, a dual mission they pursued with passion. How is that? Getting kids roaming, getting kids finding stuff, and getting excited. I love it. All right, our hero story of today. I've got about 10 seconds for this one. Hero British cop saves life of American officer while on holiday in Nashville. A British police officer has been hailed as a hero after helping to save the life of an American officer while on holiday in Nashville. Off-duty Sergeant Taylor Johansson had just arrived in the Tennessee city when he saw local officer Peter Kinsey being assaulted by a man on the side of the road. The officer from Ashford, Kent, was driving down the I-440 exit ramp at around 8 p.m. on May 7th in his rented Jeep Wrangler and immediately stopped to help. He says that the American officer was being assaulted by a 43-year-old pedestrian who even managed to grab the officer's gun and fire a round while it was holstered. Rushing into action, the Brit tackled the suspect and managed to keep him restrained, and Officer Kinsey was able to taser and handcuff him. And that's the good news for this Friday, the 22nd of May. More good news next week. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And by the way, consider a donation to keep this network alive. Go to ntmedia.org and hit that donate link. Have a wonderful weekend. See you next time. Bye for now.